Hey everyone, it is Liz, and I am back to do another reading, and it is a political reading. And I decided I would take a look at Joe Biden, President Joe Biden. I love saying that, President Biden. Uh, Feels so good. Anyway, there's just so much going on, obviously, with Afghanistan. Um, you know, I don't, I think that with all that's going on in the world right now between what's happening in Afghanistan, and what's happening with the pandemic, as far as not just the COVID-19, but the other variants. We've got the Delta variant, we've got other variants, and we have these unvaccinated people that just refuse to acquiesce or to care even, and they're believing all the BS that's being spewed out there. It's quite tragic, actually. So what I am doing is I wanted to look at President Biden. I wanted to see, what's up with him. I know that he's a Scorpio. I did look at his birthday. I did take some notes. His birthday is, by the way, 11/20/1942. So his life path number is actually same as mine. It's a 2911. Okay, 2911, the 11 is a master number. So President Joe Biden, okay, as a 2911, is someone who wants everybody. He's like, it's like a higher octave of like the number two. He wants peace. He wants everyone to get along. This is a president and a man who is very spiritual, as we know. I believe he is Christian, and I believe that this is a man who really believes in his faith and believes in humanity, believes in kindness, treating others the way you want to be treated. He's a good, kind, intelligent, well-spoken president, which is lovely to have again, by the way, just my opinion. So anyway, he's been in this energy of a 17/8 as far as his personal year number is concerned since his last birthday. And that's the vibration of, it's not just karma, but it's also good karma, and it's uh, prosperity and acknowledgement. Also, it's a number of power. Okay. And he's coming into an 18/9 on his next birthday cycle in November of this year, which is more about, I believe President Biden's going to be dealing honestly with some people in the GOP party, people who are part of the media misinformation that's out there. He's dealing with a lot of that stuff. There just seems to be, I think, for him, coming into this 18/9 personal year on his birthday, it's this vibration of, it's an ending, but it's a letting go of things that no longer serve him anymore. That's the number itself. I feel like for him, as I look at his cards here, I just pulled a few cards just to see what the year would be, the rest of this year would be like for President Biden. So between now and the end of this year, how are things looking for the president? Okay, so the first couple of cards that I pulled for President Biden have to do with where he's been recently. It's kind of like when I do my general readings. How did July end for him, and what has he walked into August? So in his recent past, we do have this Eight of Cups vibration here. By the way, I am using the Wheel of the Year Tarot. This is the deck, Wheel of the Year. It's a beautiful deck. I really like it. So Eight of Cups, if you look at the card, this is someone walking away from someone who has just sucked the life out of them. Someone who's exhausted emotionally and physically, just they're done. And when I look at this situation with President Biden, I do feel like recently he's had to put up with a lot of emotionally draining situations with people, with his colleagues. It's not just in my mind, it's not just that the Republican Party is a mess. It's no longer what it used to be, right? I believe that the Democrats are absolutely a bit conflicted. So I feel like Biden's just, he wants everybody to get along, because clarifying this card of the Eight of Cups is the Ten of Wands. So again, with this Eight of Cups, when I look at President Biden, I feel like in the last few weeks or so, he's been tired, and he's been trying to do the best he can. And he's trying to, I think he knows that he can't make everybody happy, but I also understand when I look at him, that he's doing the best he can, for all of us. And I don't think, obviously, not everyone's going to appreciate how hard he's working, but he's a Scorpio. I have Scorpio rising, and my mom's a Scorpio. Scorpios, they can be stubborn. Clarifying the card is the Ten of Wands. Okay, this is his commitment to his promises that he made. He made promises, and I remember his promises. One of them was to get our troops out of Afghanistan. And that was something he wanted to do for a long time. He wanted to do it in 2009. And I think most of us know that we were there far too long, that 20 years plus is long. It's a long time. We invested a lot of money in training the Afghanistan military. And I believe that Biden did what he thought was best, according to this energy here with the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is feeling, you're willing to do all the heavy work. You're willing to do he's willing, as he said in his speech, I think like a week or two ago, the buck stops with me. So he's owning up to all of this and taking full responsibility for making the decision to get our troops out of Afghanistan. And he's also doing everything in his power, from what I can see, with both these cards. I can tell, just even psychically, he certainly isn't going to stop. When he says August 31st, I think he's being really stubborn, and I really do admire President Biden. But when I look at his current, state of mind, where he is right now, the first card I'm looking at is the Six of Pentacles, which is very typical of a man like him. Six of Pentacles is someone, this is reciprocity. This is a gentleman. This is a president that wants to reach across the aisles and work with everybody. This is a man that's willing to help and do what he can to fix the mess that he walked into. Think about what he walked into. I always tell my friends, that aren't very political, I'll say, think of it this way. President Biden walked into what an episode of Hoarders would be. Think about it. It makes sense to me anyway. That's what he walked into, an episode of Hoarders. He had to clean up this mess, and it's not easy, and he's not going to fix it in 1 year. He may not fix it in 2 years. He may not get it done in 4 years. We don't know. What we do know is so far, it's been, not quite, it's not a year yet, but since he's been president, he has done an awful lot, including getting everybody vaccinated that wants to be vaccinated, and as far as this Afghanistan situation is concerned, I've got the Hangman. Now, this is a reversal. I don't always read reverse, but I feel like, with this vibration of the Hangman, I'm looking at his numbers here. I see that he's a 2911, and the Hangman is someone who is, when they're reversed, they're like tethered to it's a yoga position, but it's upside down, tethered to an idea, stuck to an idea, stubborn. It's a stubborn vibration when you look at the Hangman, and, this is a man, President Biden, who I believe that he has a very powerful desire to want to, move on and away from these challenging times in our lives. I took some notes here about the Hangman reverse. I believe that he's being very, very stubborn and having a hard time wanting to let go of his past ideas, because I believe he wanted to get out of Afghanistan, in 2009. So this has been something that he's been wanting to do anyway. But I believe that when I look at the Hangman reverse, I believe that there are other people around him, not just Republicans, but there are Democrats, and there are lots of people in general around Biden right now manipulating him, whether they're trying to emotionally manipulate him, whether they're trying to just make him feel, that this is all his fault, which is not, and I think that I know that one of my I think it was one of my representatives, Scott Moulton, and another Massachusetts representative went to Afghanistan because they were there. They fought the war. They fought in the war. And to see for himself, I believe he saw for himself that, there were things that Biden is right about. But it's not going to be, he's getting a lot of people out. He really is. But I do believe when I look at his numbers and I look at all that's going on with him right now, there's a part of Joe Biden that I believe feels very guilty obviously. I think he feels very guilty. This was a tough decision, and no one saw. I don't think anybody knew that the Taliban was going to be so quick to take over. I mean, it was so quick. So there's a part of Biden that is feeling it's like this like a self-punitive vibe, if you will. So he feels badly. I know he does. You can see it in his I can see it in President Biden's eyes that this is killing him. On one hand, he knew, as I agree, we had to get out of Afghanistan. We had to get out. So now what he's doing is he's listening to those people who work in his administration, that he's listening to the military. He's listening to those important people that are saying, let's do what we can to get him out. And no, it's not going to be easy. This is frightening. These are frightening times. And so he's doing everything in his power. Believe me, when I look at Biden, this is not an evil man. This is a kind-hearted, good person. And I think at his core, he really is. And looking into his immediate future, looking into President Biden's immediate future, we have this beautiful Ace of Cups, which is this, the Ace of Cups is the offer of love. This is what he brings to the table. He brings his empathy. He brings his emotions. He brings his love. He brings his compassion, and I feel like in the immediate future for him, he's doing everything in his power to let's get along. Let's make this work. I'm also sensing with him, because the clarification card is the Four of Swords. So it's like the calm before the storm vibration, right? And if you look at the card there, they're just waiting until, what's going to happen next, So, I kind of feel like between now and probably the autumn, between now and, I'm feeling like October, maybe November. It's like the calm before the storm, although I do feel with all that he's giving, with all the work that he's doing, with everything that he's trying to achieve, I feel like there are people lying in wait, to like make a move on him or to do something to create more unnecessary drama. I just feel like, again, when I look at the first few cards here, especially in his immediate future, I also feel, when I look at this energy for President Biden, he's also in a position where he's waiting and seeing. Like I know he's being stubborn about August 31st. That's it. That's when we get out. But I mean, I think that once he takes a beat, by the way, and takes a step back, he'll find that maybe he needs to be a little bit more flexible about this, okay? Because moving into the activation vibration, what's the best course of action for him? Well, his card shows up here as the King of Cups, which is a gorgeous Scorpio vibration for President Biden. This is in general, a very caring, loving, decent man who is very nurturing, very fatherly, someone who's very healing, someone who's very intelligent, very creative. Emotionally, they do not lose their cool. The King of Cups is a person who is an adult, someone who doesn't let their emotions rule. Okay. And clarifying that card for him as far as the activation vibration is this Five of Pentacles. Now, I feel like for President Biden, as far as activation is concerned, I'm looking at, again, give me a second while I just look at these cards together. He's continuing to lead. He's continuing to do everything in his power to be the president and do the job he was hired to do. And I feel like with the Five of Pentacles reversed, there's I feel like there are times where he feels like he's being that his colleagues have abandoned him, or that there are those people in his cabinet that not necessarily, maybe not everybody working for him, but there's this part of President Biden that is very worried about everybody. He's worried about what's going to happen next. The man, I feel, when I look at him, I just feel like I don't know how he sleeps. Honestly, I don't know how he sleeps. He seems to be quite concerned about the future of our democracy from the way I'm seeing him. This is a man that has a great love for his country. And this is a man that has been doing, he's been part of our political environment for 50 years almost. I'm getting that he's going to, especially when I look at this, give me a second. I kind of feel like he's standing his ground as far as, this is where I am. He's talking, in a non-threatening voice. He's letting people know this is what we need to do. We want to take care of our people. But he doesn't want to leave anybody out in the cold. He doesn't want to leave anybody out as far as Afghanistan is concerned. But it's beyond the Afghanistan situation. I also feel like, there are people that are manipulating him. There are people that are trying to emotionally mess with him. And I think that he's trying to find a way to, avoid that, not let it get to him, because I don't think he really, the way I see this is he wants to do the best job he can without losing any more people, especially when it comes to this COVID, 19 and the variants, the Delta variant alone. The way I see it is he's so worried. I feel like he's literally worried sick about the loss of life. There's been lots of people that have died now. More, I mean, the numbers just keep going up every day. So in my mind, we're coming into we're August, September. This feels like around September, October, where he's still doing his best to convince people that are not getting vaccinated to get vaccinated, to wear your masks when you have to, all these things that are happening. The mask mandate, all of these things, he's following the science, and some people don't want to follow the science. Some people just want to listen to what the propaganda media are saying, whether it's Fox News or any of those other those other news stations that are alt right, the right wing news stations. That, by the way, besides Fox News, I hear that I think there's like two other networks that are very right wing, and they're also being sued by Dominion for millions. In the meantime, we don't see any lawsuits here with President Biden. What I'm looking at is a man doing his job, and what I'm looking at in his future as far as the outside influences, we have this Nine of Swords. So he is dealing with the aggravation of the Nine of Swords. That means that there are people in his way. There are people aggravated with him and not listening to him. There are people, as far as the outside influences are concerned, especially with the Nine of Swords, this is sleepless nights. This is anxiety. This is frustration. So there seems to be a lot of people that he's dealing with. They aren't getting what they want. People possibly, especially the hit I'm getting is this. And I don't know how far this is going to go, but again, the feelings that I'm feeling and what I'm seeing and hearing is, it's the January 6th commission. I believe that there's more information coming out about that affects President Biden and frustrates him, that there's all these, there just seems to be a lot of anxiety around this time period for Biden. Probably, again, I'm getting like October, November, around that time period. But I do feel like the clarification card of this Queen of Pentacles, whether this is Kamala Harris or his wife, I don't know their birthdays, but there seems to be a woman around President Biden, regarding his influences, who's keeping him leveled, okay, on his side. Whether it's his wife, whether it's Kamala Harris, whoever, there could be more than one person here, but these outside influences here for President Biden seem to be that, I feel like his wife could be a woman here who is very loving and very supportive and trying to be the best first lady she can be, but be the best wife for Joe right now. I also get this impression here that, give me a second. I believe that Kamala Harris, the Vice President Kamala Harris, will be someone that will be able to somehow bring more stability into the environment, whether it's her or Nancy Pelosi. I just get this impression here that there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress between the parties, not just the Republicans, but President Biden is noticing that it's with his own party, this infighting with his party, and it's becoming aggravating for him. It's upsetting him. I'm not quite sure how he's going to deal with it, but in my mind, he's trying to, like the King of Cups, be loving, be supportive, not let his emotions control his actions, do his job, follow through. Um, Looking at hopes and fears for Biden in the future, between now and the end of this year, what looks lovely for him is this Six of Wands vibration. So I do feel like there are accomplishments that can be acknowledged, before 2022. That when we look at the first year of Biden's presidency, we'll see it as more of a victory than not. And maybe not all of you will agree with that, but I do feel like when I look at Biden and I look at his hopes and his fears, he sees himself as someone that just wants to make sure everybody gets what they need. You understand? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. And with the High Priestess showing up for his hopes and fears, next to the Six of Wands, it's clarifying the Six of Wands. To me, this is someone who understands already that what needs to be revealed will be revealed. What we need to know will be revealed. I think for President Biden, he's not looking, I think on one hand, he would, of course, anyone would like to receive accolades and appreciation. But on the other hand, that High Priestess is an acknowledgement that he knows that he's doing the best he can. And he understands that there are some things that are coming out. There will be some things that will be revealed between now and the next few months that could be more stressful for all of us. He every day it's like a challenge for him every day, and he is very stubborn. And I think that, again, I don't know if he's going to change his mind about Afghanistan, as far as leaving by August, by the end of this month. But on the other hand, with the outcome cards, I'm looking at the Ten of Swords, it's a very painful ending, which is what I'm sensing here between now and the end of this year for Biden. Is there are certain things that are coming to an end that have been painful for a lot of us. And Afghanistan is one of them. This pandemic is another. There are things that are coming to an end. And so it's troubling on one hand. This can be a troubling card, but on the other hand, it's the ending. It's like things can't get any worse. They can only get better now, especially, when I look at the clarification card here, we've got I'm just looking at his numbers again. Give me a second here. I'm looking at his personal year number. Yeah, that makes sense. Stability, staying positive. So, I mean, this is a man that is trying to keep us in a good place mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so I would say the Ace of Pentacles here for him, clarified by the Ten of Swords. It's clarifying the Ten of Swords, by the way. Okay. To me, it feels like something is ended, something is coming to an end, but something more stable is coming into his environment, something that creates more, not just financial stability, but emotional and physical stability, for his presidency. There seems to be this ending of, not necessarily the pandemic is over like that, but I feel like we're all witnessing people getting sick, people dying, people ending up in the hospitals all over the place, especially down south, are crowded. It's like going back to where we were, 18, 19 months ago already. So what he's doing, I believe, between now and the end of this year is doing his best to put an end to the misinformation, the disinformation, the BS that people are spewing, and making sure that everyone that needs to get vaccinated, everybody that needs a booster shot, he wants to make sure everyone is protected. As far as these wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, he's just following the science. That's what he's doing. So to me, it seems like it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride for President Biden between now and probably the end of this year. A bumpy ride. It won't be easy for him. People, on both sides, the GOP and the Democrats are both not making his job any easier between now and then. The only thing I feel really good about is the last card I pulled is like the beginning of the year for him. What does the beginning of the year hold for Biden? You know, we have the Ace of Wands as the last card, and that's activation, motivation. You know, so he's motivated. He's got ideas. There are things he wants to do, you know, and I do believe that even though there may be some challenging times ahead for President Biden between now and the next, you know, the end of the year, I believe that this is a president who is walking his talk as best as he can. Yes, he's stubborn, but I believe he's obviously has learned to be a bit more flexible. So I don't know. I kind of predict with Afghanistan, at some point he may decide to push the date, you know, to change it from the 31st to, you know, what I hear him saying, and I know he has said this before, we're going to get everybody out. So that, you know, everybody that wants to get out and can and people that have worked for us in Afghanistan, we're going to get those people out, and then anybody else. That seems to be what he's doing. So the two big things for President Biden seems to be obviously Afghanistan and obviously the pandemic. These are two big issues that he's working on. And although he's consistent and he's following through and he's doing the job, don't be surprised with a little bit of hostility, obviously, coming from both sides that he will continue to have to deal with. I just see him rising above it. I feel like he's going to rise above a lot of this. This is not going to end his presidency. This decision that he made to get our troops out of Afghanistan, this doesn't define his presidency. This is just part of his presidency. Let's see what happens next year. Right now, we seem to be watching a president doing the best he can and showing us all his compassion. So anyway, I'm going to stop it there. I hope this was somewhat enlightening or interesting for you guys. And I did use just a regular tarot deck for this. And if you have any questions, any feedback, please feel free to leave the feedback. I'd love to know what you think. If you have any political questions, let me know. You can post your questions here. I do have openings for readings this week, by the way, into the weekend. And I'm still running a special till the end of this month, which is 15% off a 30-minute reading. That's a good savings. So I will post my appointment app link on this page as well. So I will see you guys soon. And I will also post my email, by the way, if you have any political questions and you want to email me. If you have celebrity questions, feel free to ask. And just the last thing is, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do. Trying to get my channel up there. And if you like the video, please hit the like button. I will be on later today with, I think it's Heart and Soul Connection with Allie today at 4 o'clock. And that's live. I have no idea what's going to happen, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll be an interesting conversation with her. And I will see you guys soon. And again, once I get to 1,800 subscribers, I will randomly choose 2 subscribers to receive a 15-minute reading with me by phone. So share the videos, like the videos, subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.